Hello, everybody. We're going to get started in a moment. Yeah, so we're waiting for one student, but for now we can just go ahead. We'll start off today by going over last week's homework. I just wanted to quickly talk about some of the homeworks that were besides previous weeks. Alex, I'm really gonna focus on, because everybody did the first week's homework, which is great. The second class, we have a few missing ones, so I'll talk to some students about that. But just for the most part, last week in specific, I know that the document it wasn't attached correctly, and I apologize for that. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that for last week, you have to attach the document yourself. And yeah, because we have a lot of people who didn't finish last week's homework because it was a bit complicated in that way. Moving on, I'm going to start off today by going over last week's homework. So let me open up the people who did do that. I'm going to open my screen share. All right, so you guys should be able to see this in a second. All right, so we're going to begin with going over probably the word problems, because it looks like most people did everything else perfectly fine, like usual. The word problems had a bit of trouble, which is perfectly fine. This isn't loading. Give it a minute. 1 5/8. Yeah, so I want to start off by reminding everyone about something regarding improper fractions. And mixed numbers. I want to go over this quickly. And more importantly, answer choices. Now, if you have an improper fraction, for example, 7/5, and that is your answer, you should, okay, let me put this in a different way. So in a math problem, right, you're going to have a few stages, right? First of all, you have the actual problem when you are posed with the problem, all right? And then you're going to actually solve it. And then you're going to end up with your answer. So for the problem, you cannot choose what they give you. Sometimes they'll give you improper fractions. Sometimes they'll give you decimals. Sometimes they'll give you mixed numbers, right? You can't really control that. When you're solving it, it's usually easiest to use improper fractions, because working with two numbers is just much easier than working with three numbers, because these are the same thing. Not bad. 1 2/5 and 7/5 are the exact same thing, but it's considerably easier to work with the first one because it's only two numbers. Now, the reason this comes into play is when you're solving I don't really care what you use as long as you get the correct answer, right? So solving improper fractions I would recommend, but it doesn't matter. When you answer, though, however, I noticed a lot of people in the homework, a lot of people answered for the first question 13/8, which is not correct. Wait, no, sorry, my bad. Which is correct. It is completely correct. 13/8 is a perfectly fine answer. However, I would prefer it if you put it into the form of a mixed fraction. So instead of writing this, you would write 1 5/8. Just to give a quick reminder on how we solve, how we transfer an improper fraction into a mixed number, what you would do is you can figure out how many times a number fits into the denominator, the bottom number. We figure out how many times it fits into the top number. In this case, it's 1. So it's 1 5/8 because that's the leftover, because 1 is equivalent to 8/8. Which is 13/8. So these equal the exact same thing. But yeah, if the question asks you to put it in a specific way, always do what they tell you to put it in. But for general purposes, you usually want to put it in a mixed number because that's like the most proper way to write it. Let me check the answers. Yeah, so actually it looks like you guys did very good on the measurement problems. Very nice. To this area. Yeah, because most of this, there weren't many word problems, which is great. So actually, I don't think I need to go over much of the homework besides just like the general thing about mixed numbers and improper fractions. So yeah, definitely a key takeaway that we should have is that we should definitely be remembering that improper fractions are only used when we're solving the problem, and we should try our best to put it into a mixed number for the solution. Now I'm going to start posting some problems. So last week we finished off with, I believe, yeah, you guys did practice for C for homework. Let me just see what page that's on. That is on page 43. Let me scroll down there. Right around here. All right. So today we move on to the product of a fraction and a whole number. Now, luckily, quite recently, we just went over those, so you guys should remember what those are. See where that was. Got it. So what I want to say is this section should be pretty easy, right? The way we're going to do it is we're just going to kind of think of it in this way. So if we have, because we know, for whole numbers, for now, we're just going to use one-digit numbers. We're very easy, right? For example, 8. We have 8 multiplied by 5/7. This is how we do it. If we have 5/7, what does that actually mean? Well, 5/7 means that you have 5 parts, and the 7 tells you what the part is. The part is 1/7, which is like if you take a cake and cut it into 7 pieces, one part is 1 piece of the cake, and we have 5 of them. So if we multiply that by 8, we can basically say that now we have 40 parts, and then each part is 1/7. So 40/7, then we would make it into a mixed number, and that would be 5 and 5/7. Yeah. So to give you guys some example questions, we're going to start off with a bit more of a difficult question. I want you to really think about this question carefully. Just send me the answer in chat when you solve it. All right, we got our first answer. Just trickling in answers. Yep, looks like everybody got 54. So the way we solve this problem is by realizing, well, we can solve it in 2 parts, right? We're going to cut it in half. We're going to solve 2 days equals how many hours? And we're going to solve 1/4 days equals how many hours? 2 days is 48 hours. And 1/4 of a day is 6 hours. And then we add them together, getting 2 and 1/4 days. we add them together, and we get 54 hours. So, interesting cake emoji. Just giving you guys a quick reminder. If you get a message from junior coach to junior coach, if the message is like a normal message, like number 5 is incorrect, then it's probably me. If it's a random emoji, it's probably just Alex impersonating me. Yes, now we're gonna move on to practice through D. Send a bunch of questions. Good luck. Yeah, so just a reminder, the way you should do this is for really big numbers like this, you can break it down into multiple parts like we did with the 2 1/4 days. Breaking it into parts might help a lot. All right, looks like we gotta. Yeah, so remember what I went over at the beginning. Unless it tells you to give it in an improper fraction, make it into a mixed number. Every single person gave it to me in the form of a improper fraction. So I just really want to make sure you guys understand that I want you guys to make it into improper fractions. It's much better that way. Into mixed numbers. I mean, so everybody just like, if you sent me an answer already, you gotta just like some of them you can keep. Like for the first one, you can't really change 7. But for question 2, for example, the ideal answer that I want you to give is 6 1/2. Okay, Alex, I'm gonna change your name because you're getting a bit crazy. I want to change it to something funny though. We're gonna change your name to let's see. Your name's gonna be Alex, but it's gonna be Alex. That's your new name, okay? No more junior coach, junior coach. Actually, I'm changing my name to junior coach Oliver. But yeah, just everybody send me the things with mixed numbers. All right, good job. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of normal messages. Okay, Alex, can you not send to if you're gonna send those messages, just like send them to me only, because if you send it to everyone, then they get in the way and I can't see other things. I'm gonna post a few more questions. We're gonna do a bit more of an interesting one. So I only want you to send me the end result, okay? I don't want you to send me the intermediary things. So you gotta be very careful you don't mess any of these steps up. Ooh, give me a sec. Just shrink this to the correct size. So actually, yeah, make sure you actually send me all your stuff. So I don't want to make sure I don't want you to just skip all the way to the end. reminder that I do not want improper fractions. Looks like we got all the answers in. Yeah, now we're going to move on to some more unit question. Actually, no, we don't have the QFA, so I think we're gonna go straight on to some other stuff. Yeah, so we just did multiplication. Now we're gonna do some subtraction, which is, basically the same idea as applying multiplication to fractions. We're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna apply division to fractions, right? We can begin by, we're gonna skip these questions. These questions are a bit easy. Yeah, so I want you guys to think about these questions carefully. Think about what a fraction means, like what the top part means and what the bottom part means, and based on that information, how we can solve these questions. I'll give a bit of a tip for the first one. If we have 1/3 and we divide it by 3, we can basically say we're taking this piece here, and then we're dividing it into 3 pieces. So if you think about it, in a way, this is 1/9, right? So the first question is 1/9, and you can kind of think about how that idea can apply to other questions. It would not be 15/20. No. So if you're getting 15/20 for the second one, let me change the pen color. 3/5 divided by 5 does not equal 15/20. 15/20 and 3/4 are the exact same thing, right? Because if we scale the denominator and the numerator at the same rate, then they will be the same. Guys, sorry if you can't see the questions. I'm going to go over something quickly, then I'll go back. If we have a pie cut into 4 pieces, all right? Taking 1/4 of this pie is the exact same thing as taking 2/8. Why? Because 1/4 and 2/8 are the exact same thing. Because if you multiply a number by 1, it's the exact same thing. And if we multiply 1/4 by 2/2, which is 1, then we get 2/8, right? You understand how this works, yes? Because these multiply to get 8, and then these multiply to get 2, and then it's okay to multiply because 2/2 is really just equal to 1. When you divide something, what you really want to be doing, I'll go back to the 1/4 example. If you have a 1/4 and we're dividing it by 2, we're taking this piece, all right? And so this should be 1/8. So I want you to really visually think about it, and eventually you'll get the hang of it where you don't need to do that. But yeah, the second question is not 15/20. You really got to think about it 3/4, and you want to think what really happens when you divide it by 5, what actually takes place. All right, so I think I definitely have to go over this. Okay, so we're having a lot of trouble with this. 3/4 divided by 5. I really want you to think about it. If it's helpful, use paper to really draw what 3/4 is. I want you to draw out 3/4. We take 4 pieces and we take 3 of them. And we're going to divide this by 5. Now, how do we divide this by 5? That is a good question. Well, if you think about it, we figured this out earlier. If you multiply, let's say we take 3/4 and we multiply it by 1/5. This is the exact same thing as dividing it by 5. And believe it or not, this is our answer right here. We just take both sides and multiply it. Because what you got to realize is what you're basically doing is we're dividing each of these 4 pieces into 5 pieces. Actually, a bit too small for me to draw this accurately, so I'm going to scroll down a bit and go over this more in detail. If we have 3/4, I'm going to draw it really big so you can see. And we divide each of these into 5 pieces. Oops. Oh my God, why did it destroy everything? Well, I'm just going to do an easier setup for now because it's easier for me to draw. We're going to take 1/4 and divide it by 3. So 1/4 is basically just this section here. And so if we divide it by 3, we can basically take one of these, we can take this big section and divide it into 3 pieces, and then it's this small section here, which happens to be 1/15. Now, what happens when the number that we're working with isn't as easy to work with? For example, What if the question is 1/3 divided, no, 2/3 divided by 3. I keep putting fractions here for some reason. 2/3 divided by 3. So 2/3 is all of this. Now, how do we divide this into 3? Well, once again, we're going to take each of the smaller parts and divide it into 3 pieces. And then we see we have 6 pieces in total. And then this is 6 out of 9. So the answer would, wait. No, what am I doing? My bad. Sorry. So if we divide this big thing into 3 pieces, it seems a bit difficult to figure out how to do it. But the way we can solve this is by cutting this into 3 and then taking parts from each of it. So instead of taking instead of taking 1/3, which is when you divide something by 3, you're taking 1/3. Instead of taking 1/3 of the whole, we can take 1/3 of an individual part. In this case, we are going to divide it by here, and we're going to take 1/3 of each of these individual parts. So we can take this side, and we can take this one. And then you realize that the answer is 2 knives, because you took one part from each side. So visually, this may be a bit difficult to comprehend, which is why now I'm going to give a more numerical way to solve it. When you are solving a fraction by division, because I really want to make sure you guys actually understand how we're getting this, because if more in-depth problems may require you to critically think about something. And in those cases, you actually have to know what you're talking about. So 3/4 divided by 5 is really just 3/4 multiplied by 1/5. Because in reality, dividing something by 5 is the same. Because when you divide something, you're really just multiplying by a fraction. Dividing something into 5 is just making it into 5 parts. So 3/4 making it into 5 parts. So I'd like to see some answers now, because yeah, I just scrolled back up. Yeah, so start working again. Okay, so we had a bit of trouble. I think we had some trouble ordering it. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, looks like you guys got this. Yeah, just a reminder to simplify everything. That always helps. But yeah, so I'm gonna give a more intuitive example on how to solve these. We give a word problem, which is like super easy, but like it is a word problem, so it's difficult in that aspect. Like yeah, like this shouldn't be too hard, but then of course it is a word problem, so good luck. Yeah. All right, yeah. Just okay, so yeah, of the pie each. So like each person, how much of the pie do they get? So if they're sharing 2/3, how much do they each get? So you can think of this question as 2/3 divided by 4. So the question is asking what fraction of the pie did each boy receive? So I'm gonna go over this question now because I understand how division can be a bit tricky. We have, this is bad. We have the boys are sharing 2/3 of a pie. So they're sharing this portion. This portion is going to the garbage or something. It's bad. We don't even like talk about this portion. All right. What we're focusing on is the green area. Now, 4 boys are going to split this equally. And so the way we can interpret this is by dividing each of these into 1. If we divide it like this, each boy is going to get 1/4, which is 1/6. So the answer would be 1/6. I'm going to send a few more of these questions. And I'll send like an example of how you could solve it. I'm not sure what this means. Oh, wait, give me a second. Let me see what they're trying to say here. I'm gonna black this out quickly. Give me a minute. Two twelfths is correct, but remember, 2/12 and 1/6 are the exact same thing. Remember, 2/12 and 1/6 are the same thing. Yeah, so 1/6 would have been the correct answer. Yeah, so this is the solution, as you can see it this way. Now, just another quick question. I want everyone to send me the fair answers. Divide 2/3 by 3. All right, we got some correct answers. Looks like you guys are getting the hang of this. Okay. I'm going to send some examples. I want you to, I'll label them based on the way I want you to solve them. What? When did I close it by accident? Oh, this is annoying. I don't know how it closed. I'm sorry about that. I have to reopen this up. Hopefully it's saved. I don't know where it went, honestly. That was weird. Yeah, sorry about that. The smart thing closed and it's gone now. That's so weird. All right, back to here. I think I must have done something to break it accidentally. Yeah, give me a quick minute. I'm gonna black out some of these and make it a bit easier for you to solve them. So here. So I want you to give me answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, answer 4, and answer 5, and answer 6. That's the order I want you to give them in. Thank you. I would like everyone to look at your answers. Okay, so Alan, your answer is fine, but everyone else, take your answers and send them to me again with simplified fractions. Okay, so when we do problems, I want you to do two things. Okay, step one is make it a mixed number, not improper. Step two, I want you to simplify. I do not listen. The answer to number one is 3/24, but I don't want this as an answer. I want 1/8. I want you to try to simplify numbers, okay? So whenever you see the first number, see if you can simplify it. See if there's a number that you can divide it by, that you can divide the other one into. It will, at the beginning, you might be like, wait a minute, this number divides into this number. I had no idea. How am I supposed to know that? I completely understand if you feel like that. But later on, as we get like more into the problems, you'll be able to easily figure out which numbers divide into which numbers. But for now, just try your best to send them to me as simplified as possible. All right, yeah, good job. I like how simplified some of the answers I'm getting are. And we're gonna do one last set. That should be it. Remember, mixed number and simplify. Very important that you do mixed numbers and you simplify. looks like we got some answers. I'm not sure what free means. Claire, by number one, okay, so previous. Oh wait, you're talking about the previous ones. Yeah, Claire, those are all good, but you can simplify them, which you are correct. Yeah, 1/15. Yeah. If I were talking about like the numbers and the letters and like all confused, like what are you talking about? But yeah, got it. Yep, you are correct. Okay, good job, everyone. These all look correct. 1, 6, 4, 15. Yeah, it looks like you guys are getting the hang of this. I'll wait a minute or two to get some of these answers in, and then I will assign some quick questions, and then you guys can move on to your homework. All right, we're waiting. I'm gonna see who we're waiting for, and then I'll post the next batch. Yeah, we're waiting for a few more on this one. Waiting for an answer or two. I'm gonna post the next set now. If anyone wants to start working on it, it's gonna be kind of small on the side, but I'm gonna scroll down so you can see the full thing in a bit. Let's see. I have to shrink it. Actually, I can stretch it this way. Sorry if it's too small. I'll make it bigger in a second. All right, so actually, I don't think there's enough time to do this. I will keep this. I think we can skip this because your homework has sufficient material. So yeah, if you have not finished these 9 questions, then make sure to finish them, like send them in chat. If you finished them already, you can leave. Homework should be posted. Yep, homework is out. Good luck. All right, yeah. So if you haven't sent me the questions yet, make sure to send them. Or your answers. But if you have, then you can leave. All right, looks like that is about it. We're just waiting for, yeah, that's it. All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.